tasked to do is basically to go out over Galveston Bay and potentially offshore in the Gulf of Mexico and collect air quality data. And that's kind of driven by Houston has at times high ozone, and we think that the interaction between land and water in the bay can at times exacerbate these episodes. And measurements have never really been collected over there, so we kind of have to rely on computer modeling.
This is the third year that we've been doing work like this. It's multifaceted. We've got mobile labs running, we have the boats running, we are doing drones and ozone sondes, weather balloons with ozone instruments on them. The first year was tied in very closely with NASA aircraft operations that were here, based in Houston. Then the second year was tied in more with the Department of Energy tracer study, and now this is a third year follow-on, kind of building on what we've learned the first couple of years.
There's been quite a few high ozone episodes over water, and so that's kind of like the motivation for having this boat and coming out here and taking all these measurements, is to try to understand like why we're seeing these high ozone episodes and try to understand like what are the driving processes, like is it chemistry, mineralogy, things like that.
One of the drivers of this project is an air quality satellite, which is labeled TEMPO. The satellite is going to be doing high resolution scans of our area while we take our boat out, and then we're going to be able to compare our data and determine how accurate the satellite is, or where measures could be improved. And one of the ways that we do that is we'll go out and launch weather balloons. And so in addition to just getting weather data, they also have ozone data.
As we launch it from the boat, it'll take the vertical profile so you can see kind of how ozone's changing as you go up in the atmosphere.
You can see changes in different parts of the bay based on just kind of how winds are blowing the emissions around and stuff like that. We also look at it on what we call time series, so just kind of an XY graph, and seeing kind of how things develop on a diurnal cycle, so throughout the day.
This boat is a Pacific Northwest style fishing boat. It handles the rough waters down here much better, and really now for the bay, there are the number of days that we can get out and make measurement is just enormously expanded. What we're doing now is carrying a much more complete payload, something that was comparable to what we were driving around in our mobile lab last year, and able to get that out over the water. The mobile lab that we're driving is even larger and more well equipped this year than it has been in the past. And together these two platforms can look at what's happening on the land, what's coming out from freeway emissions, from industrial emissions, natural emissions from trees and things like this, and tie those more closely in with what's happening out over the water.